Welcome back to our channel, guys. Of course, I am Lashawnda.
I'm Mike.
And it's been a while. We're a little rusty.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
But we thought it would be super fun to react to our very first YouTube video. It has been, it says a year, but I swear it's been almost 2 years since we did that video.
It's had to have been at least 2 years.
Yeah.
It's pushing 2.
It's definitely pushing 2, but yeah. I know that we have brushed over it a couple times because we still get comments from this video. And we're always like, oh, like this video is a little rough. But we never actually like rewatched it.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little hesitant. I have no idea what the first video is because I haven't watched it since we posted it.
And we are completely different from when we were recording this first video. So very interested to see how this is gonna go. Okay, so before we hop into the video, if you haven't watched our first video, it's basically us sharing how we met each other, sharing our love story. And this was like, what, a year, almost 2 years ago?
It's pushing 2 years now, yeah.
It's pushing 2 years now since we recorded this. We were in a different house at the time. We've moved since this video. And I just feel like we were different people.
We were definitely different people. A lot has changed.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what this video is going to produce because I don't know the energy. I know that we were super excited to start a YouTube channel. Yeah. So I'm anxious to see what happens in this video.
And a lot of people still comment on this video to this day. Yeah. So, all right, let's hop in.
All right, let's see.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our YouTube channel. This is our first video. Of course,
So, I look like an overweight Caesar in this video. That looks ridiculous. I look like Russell Crowe on Unhinged.
Oh,
look at my beard and my greasy hair, and I was a big boy. Ooh, man. And here's the crazy thing. No, well, you know what? No wonder I was always out of breath because it was a 2-story house, guys.
It was a 2-story house, yeah.
Man, not to mention, oh my God, I got a Corona shirt on, which I'm a recovering alcoholic. So
it's the fact that we didn't catch that. We didn't catch that when we saw the shirt. We thought the shirt was super cool. And then you wore the shirt on the first video, and I don't remember if you mentioned you being a recovered alcoholic.
I think somebody had wound up mentioning it at some point in time, but looking back now, I'm just like, ooh, man. Yeah. So let's play and see what happens.
My name is Lashawnda.
I am Michael.
And this is Michael. And everyone has been telling us that we need to start a podcast and that we need to start a YouTube channel. So we would have did this sooner, but I caught COVID. Oh, yeah. And so I've been recovering.
I remember
so disclaimer.
That.
Oh, my God. I did. I caught the C word, and I thought I was going to die.
That poor thing.
That was back when it was like a really big thing. Like, it's kind of slowed a lot now, but...
You don't ever cry either. I literally had to carry her to the car to get tested. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, I was boohoo crying. And I passed out in the bathroom. That was the first time I ever passed out. Yeah. And they heard a thump. And didn't come to see what it was. It was me.
I'm not gonna lie. I heard a thump upstairs, and I was like, "Huh, I wonder what that is." But I never...
laying on the ground.
Yeah.
That one took me out for a good little bit. So disclaimer: if my voice sounds all crazy, that's what it sounds like. And we're just gonna go ahead and get started because everybody always wants to know how we met. I'm gonna let you start.
Okay, so from my side, we actually met online. I was on Plenty of Fish. And I came across her profile, and at the time, I was in like a really bad place. No car.
What'd you laugh for that part for? Why did you laugh? It's like, I was in a really bad place.
I had a lot going on at that point in time, and I don't know why, but every time I went to go share, I would laugh about it, and I still to this day don't know why I used to do that.
I think you still do that.
Yeah, I think whenever something like serious is happening, I tend to laugh about it.
Yeah.
I guess that's my way of coping with things. But I didn't catch that before, so that's funny. So I reached out to her and had a good conversation with her. And we wound up talking for a little while. Actually about 6 or 7 hours on the phone, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we were on there for a while. Eventually, I broke down and told her the truth, that I didn't have a vehicle or a job or anything. But I told her if she gave me all
I looked at you.
Guess that was the hard time. 6 months. But I let her tell you her side of the story.
So, for me, I had gotten out of a relationship. I call it a quarantine relationship because I was trying to extend it for quarantine. And originally I was just gonna kind of like chill. And then I kept having like friends tell me like, oh, you know, you should try Plenty of Fish and, you know, all these different dating apps or whatever. And I had tried like Tinder and Be Okay before. And I had never tried Plenty of Fish. And I remember my cousin, she always used to have like really good luck with Plenty of Fish for some reason. Like, there was a whole bunch of people on there. And so I was like, you know what, let me try, you know, whatever. And a key thing, so after my breakup, I told myself, I was like, you know what, I worked on manifestation. This is when I had learned about The Secret and all this other stuff. And I was like, I'm going to manifest my perfect partner. I'm going to pause. So it's ironic that I said that in that video because right before I met you, I was really big on manifestation. And then I met you and I was like, oh, snap, it worked. And then I just kind of stopped doing it. It was like, oh, snap, I figured out how to do this. And then I just didn't do it anymore. And now me and Michael have both actively been manifesting and like doing our visualizations and our affirmations and prayer and things like that to get back up on manifestation because it very well works. And even in this short amount of time that we've been doing it recently, we've been seeing
results.
Yeah, we've been seeing results. So it's ironic that I mentioned that here.
I gotta, first of all, I gotta give kudos to you because, I mean, and I'm not trying to dog myself out, but seriously though, I had a lot of stuff that was going on at that time and overweight and all that good stuff, but you still, you know, kind of jumped on and took a chance. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, you know, it's really humbling whenever you actually see that somebody actually saw what was good in you and actually gave you the opportunity, and now we actually get to see the results of that as well too, which is really cool. So
yeah. I definitely took a chance.
Yeah.
And I feel that now that I've reflected on the nature of my behavior, my movements, I'm a risk taker.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I'm super scary on the other scheme of things.
Oh Lord, she's scary.
Yeah, but I'm a risk taker. Yeah. So I feel like I felt that you had great potential, and I know people say don't go off of the potential of someone, but I don't listen, so...
Oh God, yeah, don't tell her what to do.
I didn't listen, but I'm glad I didn't, because, you know, we are where we are now. So I did like some work where I was like writing down exactly what I was looking for in my relationship or my future relationship and then my spouse, and I did a whole lot of work in reference to like just manifesting it. Like I literally used to go to sleep pretending like my spouse was in the bed with me, like all these type of things, because they say that when you're trying to manifest something, you have to act as if it's already done. Like
I remember I used to do that for real.
Like y'all think this is a game. Before I met Michael, and this is for anyone that may be like trying to find like their soulmate or their spouse or whatever, literally I used to pretend that someone was in the bed with me. Like even down to like I'm asleep on one side of the bed, the other side of the bed is for my spouse. I would have like a pillow. I would pretend like my leg was over their leg, and I do that to you to this day. Like,
and that's why I need 2 fans.
I would have my hand, like, it's hard to explain, but I would pretend that I was like holding my spouse's hand. It was very detailed what I used to do in reference to manifesting my spouse.
You're welcome. I'm just saying.
Oh my God. Anyways. And so I was trying to practice that, and that's a key part. But I ended up getting on Plenty of Fish, and I don't think I was on there 24 hours. And my inbox was blowing up. Like my inbox was blowing up, and I remember Michael reaching out to me specifically. And I feel like I keep skipping stuff. So a key thing, Michael is the first white guy I've ever dated.
I still talk a lot.
He's the first white guy. And I say that because, you know, I had only dated black guys in the past, and on Plenty of Fish, it asks you what your preference is in reference to race. And I hesitated, and I was like, you know what? Let me leave the door open, you know, for a different race, because who knows? And I follow multiple YouTubers who are in interracial marriages, and their husbands treat them like queens. Like they.
Yeah, so one that I will name on here, because I still follow them, is Gabe and Babe TV. If you watch our channel, you probably know of Gabe and Babe TV. Their relationship is the reason why I stepped outside of the box.
because I used to look at how Chad would treat Gabe, and I'm like, where can I get me one of them? Their relationship is the reason why I stepped outside my box. You know? Like, they treat them so good, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it, you know, get a little swirl going on, maybe, you know, who knows? And Michael reached out to me, and I remember he looked like the little Jersey Shore type of guy, like with the type of picture he had. Never seen that picture again either.
Yeah, so somehow or another I have to show him that picture.
We're gonna find the picture and we're gonna put it like right here, okay?
It's amazing how many different changes that I have made. Like when we first met, when we were first talking on the phone and stuff like that, I was more clean shaved, didn't have a beard, none of that stuff. And I did have the Jersey Shore type thing. We'll post a picture here somewhere in the video so you'll see it. But that's what she's talking about now. So it's amazing. I can't wait to see what I'm about to say to you.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, at this point in time, I didn't have hair like this. I didn't even have a beard.
You just did it. He did it. He had like this muscular looking shirt. And the way he posed in the picture, he just reminded me of like the guys from Jersey Shore. And I was like, you know what? You know, we'll see. And so, like he said, when we got on the phone, we talked for like 6-7 hours nonstop.
I remember that.
And I was like, when we ended the phone call, I was like, ooh, this was kind of good. Like, I kind of enjoyed that. And here we are, almost 2 years later, right? Like, it's crazy. Another thing, we were long distance because he was in Georgia and I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. Long distance. Okay, that was long distance.
Technically, it's 4 hours, so it's almost like going to Walmart 39 times. Other than that.
So he was long distance, and he kind of hit me in different areas that normally would make me run, like that would normally make me be like, nah, I ain't messing with that, because I promised myself I wasn't interested in any type of long distance relationship. He go come to me from Georgia, and I'm like, man, nobody got time to be trying to like work nothing out long distance. And then he hit me with the, well, you know, I'm not really working right now. And I think I kind of let him slide a little bit on that one because we were in the middle of a pandemic. And so it was kind of normal for some people
so not before to you say anything, because I know you ready to say something. I had a lot of red flags and I didn't even realize.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, he had a lot of red flags.
At least I'm admitting them. But yeah, I had a lot. Looking back now, I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I let the job thing slide because a lot of people had lost their jobs during the C word. So when he said he wasn't working at the time, and then he kind of lied. I don't know if I brought this up in the video, but he lied. He told me that he was laid off because of COVID, when really you quit. It had nothing to do with COVID. And I found that out later on down the line. And I'm like, I thought you said you were laid off. And he was trying to get like unemployment or something. And I was even trying to help him figure out how to get unemployment, because I was getting unemployment in Georgia. And I don't remember what happened, but he wasn't able to get it. He's like, oh, that's crazy. That's so crazy. Dang.
That's ignorant. That's just ignorant.
And I don't know if that's when I found out the real reason or if it was later, but yeah, you lied. Like, I wasn't working, you know, a lot of people had been laid off. So he hit me with the, I got laid off. So I was like, oh, I mean, I get it. You know, I got laid off too, technically. So that wasn't really a big deal. And then when he told me he didn't have a car. Yeah, the car almost took you out. That's when I was like, yeah, the car almost took me out.
I mean, it looks kind of bad when you put it that way.
Like how many long distance and you ain't got no car?
Powerful speed walk.
I'm like, how's this about to work? Like, you ain't got no car. And he told me, he was like, if you give me a chance, I will get everything that I need. Well, then I don't remember what his time frame was, but it was
6
fast.
months. It was, you know, go ahead.
No, you go first.
I was going to say, you know, it's so funny how at the time I had absolutely nothing going for me. But my dad used to always say that whenever you see somebody and you feel like they're the one, like, you'll know. Like, when you know, you know. And with her, I knew. I don't know what it was about you. I still don't even know. But I've always just been like, she's it. She's the one. She's the one I want to be with. And so it was crazy because at that time, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was scared to death because I was like, she ain't gonna give me a shot. I got way too much going on. And I did, you know, looking back now, I'm like, I really did have a lot going on.
I will say, do what I say, don't do what I do. Okay? Because granted, all the red flags that he showed me at the very beginning, they were really red. Like, they were red flags, okay? And as a result, there was situations that came as a result of that did put a strain on a relationship. So based on my experience now, I mean, obviously we're on the other side of everything, you know, things are completely different now. I would say that, yes, I went on a whim, and sometimes you do have to take that chance, but you also have to be prepared for what comes attached to that chance, right? Because for one, it's not going to always turn out the way that it turned out for us. Like, some people going to show you red flags and you're going to overlook them, and then it ain't going to be what you know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be exactly what you thought it was. But also for the men out there, and I have to say this because, and I feel like we've had a conversation about this before, Michael should not have been on Plenty of Fish. I don't know what made him think, like, oh, I don't got my stuff together, let me get on Plenty of Fish. Like, don't do that, because if you do find someone, you're putting them in a position, you know what I'm saying, because you're not prepared, you know. And I feel that Michael went on Plenty of Fish and he was not prepared, but he met someone like me who was a little more understanding, and then that's kind of how we were able to mold together. But don't do that. Do what we say, don't do what we do, okay? We're gonna see, you know. And you know, it's one of those things where it's easy for people to say it and then they try to like throw it under the rug or act like they didn't make that promise. Nah, it was like 2 days later he had a job. Like 2 days later. And then within the first, month or so, you have rented a car. He rented a car with his first paycheck and got a hotel room, came to Charlotte just to see me, and we had never met before.
100%. So, you know, like she was saying, I didn't have my stuff together. And at the time, the main reason why I was looking for somebody was because I didn't want to be alone. And I really wanted to have a family. I had lost my parents, and I had actually went through a lot of traumatic experiences in my life that led me to a point where I desired a family more than anything else. And I guess at that time, I felt like if I got in a family, that it would put more pressure on me to get myself together quicker. So whenever I had the opportunity with Shawnda to get my life together, and actually she was going to give me a chance, I literally had it together within 6 months. Like, I really buckled down, and I continued to make sure that everything I said I meant with her. So that's very key. Now, like she said, you know, you can't just take a chance on everybody because you don't know, you know, who has the right intentions. Because I did have a lot of red flags. Looking back now, of course, back then it made sense to me. But now that I'm getting older and now that I'm on the other side, I'm kind of looking back like, I should have waited before I pursued anything. Not even the fact that she should have waited. I actually should have waited to get myself a little bit better together before I actually tried to pursue anything. So I prematurely tried to get into a relationship. Luckily, everything worked out fine because my intention was to have an actual family.
Yeah, so. I find that a lot of men go into the dating scene premature. And it's normally, like you said, they don't want to be alone. They don't want to be alone, or they're trying to mask some type of void that a past relationship has had, or whatever trauma they've dealt with in the past. Like, and so they just go to the next relationship, and you just have to be mindful, you know, because everything comes with a consequence. In our first year, like you said, it took 6 months before we were actually able to move into the house, wasn't it? You moved to Charlotte within 6 months.
Within 6 months, I relocated from Georgia to Charlotte. And then I think it was about another month or so we were able to get to the house.
So technically, our relationship didn't technically start until well over 6 months. I mean, we were in a relationship throughout the whole process, but we weren't living together or seeing each other on almost a daily basis until you were here.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? It was more of an emotional relationship until then.
Correct. And you got to keep in mind that everything kind of fell together pretty fast with us. 6 months is very quickly to go from a long distance relationship to living in a house, and she's got children and stuff like that.
I got kids and a mama.
Yeah, mama. And so it is, everything kind of happened pretty quickly. Like I said, for us, it was a success story as far as that's concerned. However, I would not recommend, doing that. And I wouldn't recommend ever doing that again either. Like, everything was great until we first moved in together. And then there was a lot of learning that we had to do. I still had a lot of growing up to do, honestly, guys.
And I got a question on this particular video a lot. So one of the questions that I kept getting on here, and I answered it in the comments, but I'm gonna answer it here too, is how did you feel so comfortable moving you and your kids into a house with someone that, I mean, we didn't just meet, but like someone that was long distance. We had lived together or really interacted like that in person as much. So that's actually a really good question, and I'm glad that you guys asked, because I do want to address this. So here's the thing. When you are a parent, you have to make the best judgment for your kids. And I will admit, I was a little hesitant at the beginning because of the fact that I have 2 boys. I know this man, but I don't really know this man. Like, you can think you know somebody and you don't really know them until you get together. What brought me peace of mind in that situation was that my mom was also moving with us.
Right.
And so he doesn't know that, well, you might know this now, but he didn't know this at the time, but I already had an arrangement with my mom. Before we moved, I told her, I said, I want to make sure that I am with the kids or you are with the kids anytime the kids are alone. Like, I never left Michael with the kids when we first moved in, where like we went to the store or went anywhere. It was always me being there or my mom being there at the beginning stages. And we didn't alter that agreement until I seen how comfortable the kids became with Michael.
Right.
I mean, to the point where they were laying on him, like the kids gave me the green light that it was okay to leave them with Michael. And I even had a conversation with the kids, by themselves. I'm like, how do you feel about Michael? Like, how do you feel about him living here? Does he make you feel uncomfortable? That, and they loved him. They're like, no, they would ask like, Michael, can we go to the store with you? So you have to look, as a parent, you have to look for signs like that. Now, if your kids are very reserved towards someone, then those are things that you look for.
Or scared or something like that, yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask. You need to talk to your kids.
The kids are absolutely important. My son, he still lives in Georgia, but I actually got his permission to move.
Yeah.
I asked him numerous times.
Yeah, I remember that.
I asked him numerous times, would he be okay with me relocating, because I knew it would be a better situation for me. Back home was not a good place for me, just because that's where I was alcoholic and lost family members and stuff like that. So it was a very pain point for me, and very I felt like a trigger for somebody that was a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah. So I'm glad we were able to address that. All right. Yeah. Ladies, we might have to skip some of this because it's going to be a long video.
But whenever you move in together, we decided to move in together and sign a lease for a year.
15 months.
Well, 15 months.
Yeah, it was 15 months.
Because we wanted to go with the route of not having an option to leave. And I'm so glad we did that, because in the beginning, we broke up like twice. I'm not even gonna lie, and we were.
That 15 months was rough too.
It was.
It was rough.
There was a lot of adjustments, and I gotta say, one of the things that I wanted to mention as well too about how when somebody wants you, they'll make the effort to be with you. That's in every aspect of your life. Friends, everybody. People make time for what's important to them. If it's not important to them, they make excuses.
Yeah.
That's something I definitely wanted to address. But like she said, and we both said in the beginning, man, we were ready to dart. I was ready to go. I'm a Scorpio, and I was like, oh, you made me mad? Cool.
Yeah, we both had fight or flight. Like, nah, we gotta.
Yeah, we weren't used to it. We weren't used to it. Whenever we finally kind of got used to our relationship, and our relationship wasn't toxic. The funny thing is, guys, is I feel like whenever you have been in toxic relationships, that you tend to try to be toxic in a relationship to some extent because that's what you're used to.
I don't agree with that.
Well, like I'm saying, like the arguing and stuff like that, like I took things so much more seriously in the beginning than I do, of course, now. You know, now I don't hold a grudge or anything like that. But in the beginning, I remember being mad and being like, "Oh, I'm gonna prove a point."
I don't think that you were behaving in a toxic manner. I think you were behaving you were used to people being toxic to you, so you had your guard up.
Yeah.
Like you had your way of protecting yourself, and your way of protecting yourself at the time was, I'm gonna leave because I don't have to deal with this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I think it was. But yeah, the 15 months was kind of rough. And when I say rough, I don't mean the entire 15 months. It just seemed like stuff just was happening throughout those 15 months. You know, I can't even really remember now. The only thing that I can remember is it was the growing pains of living together. And that's going to come in any relationship. If you've never lived with someone and then you move in together, there's going to be those new, we live together growing pains, adjustments.
And I really feel like being considerate of your spouse is like key.
Yeah.
Because when there's something that your spouse doesn't like and you continue to do it, it's going to continue to be growing pains between the both of you. So there was things like with her, like I used to throw my clothes around and stuff like that. Just little things that I used to do that whenever I realized how important it was to her, I was like, you know what, let me fix that. Now, one thing I will say about me is every time you ever say something to me, I fix it.
He does. He might give me a little pushback at first. Like, how dare you? What are you talking about? And then he'll come around and be like, I'm not going to do that anymore. Right. I'm going to fix it. And then he fixes it. And then we don't have that issue anymore. But we had the issue of us living together, those arrangements. Yeah. I could tell that Michael had to get used to living with kids because my kids loved him. So they were always like, hey, Michael, like Colin jumping down the stairs, like when he gets off work. You know, like when you're used to not living with kids and then you start living with younger kids, it's an adjustment. Right. And I understood that. And so there would be times where I'd be like, baby, you kind of need a break. You know, you need some time, you know, because I could tell sometimes he would be overstimulated, for a lack of better terms. Right. And what else?
Another thing too, we were kind of, I don't want to use the word selfish because that's the wrong word, but I believe my money was my money whenever me and her met. And she believed that her money was her money whenever we were together. And so it was very hard to kind of balance that out until we realized that we were in it for good. Whenever we realized that we were like really in it, then money was never an issue as far as, you know, I don't mind spending my whole check on, you know, whatever it is that we need, and vice versa, same way. Right. We take care of each other. We attend to each other. I love to cook. Of course, I can season food, so just because I'm white, everybody, doesn't mean I can't season.
You gotta pause that part. Okay.
Go ahead.
So
I know you got something to say about this one.
Michael was about at a level 2 in reference to cooking when we were at the other house. He was at about a level 2. Now, granted, his cooking was edible, if that makes sense. Like, he was very proud of his cooking. And as a spouse, I'm going to be supportive because you like to cook. And I don't feel like cooking and you cooking. So it was at this house, I want to say closer to the end, middle, closer to the end, I started teaching him about seasonings. Like, these are the basic seasonings that you need to be putting pretty much on everything, you know? Not just the salt and pepper, like you need to have the garlic powder, the onion powder. We've upgraded a lot of our seasonings since this house. Like the lemon pepper seasoning,
I gotta say, in that house we had seasonings. In this house, now we have marinades and seasonings.
Yeah, so I was teaching him about like the basics, like using the minced garlic and like different things like that. And so he did get better, but he was still about a level 2. Michael now, he can cook better than me in most cases. Like, he can throw down, okay? He holds his weight for real when in the kitchen. Like, he can do really good now.
I was gonna say, it's so funny because we were talking about how healthy our relationship was then, and I look back and I'm like, that relationship can't even touch what we got going on now. It's amazing the different transitions that you go through in your relationship, for sure, because we are much, much further than we were in this video, and it's amazing to see that.
And we were able to, I think that we have the relationship we have now because our foundation here was strong.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Even though we were still figuring things out with each other and like in general, the foundation was pure. Yeah. Between the both of us.
Yeah. I'm still doing my Dr. Phil.
But she's very supportive. If I don't like my job and I need to change my job, or if I need to change careers, or if I need to change anything, she's got my back.
I gotta pause it. Michael has had about 12 jobs since we've been together. I don't even know the number. You've had, how many jobs have you had since we've been together, since we've known each other?
2.
He's had a lot of jobs, y'all. So in this video, I said, he was mentioning that I'm always supportive, and I'm still supportive. Now, Michael puts you in a tough spot when it comes to the job situation because the jobs that he gets are always upgrades. So you're kind of like you kind of just started this one, but I mean,
every single job is an upgrade.
Yeah, so it's one of those situations where you're like, dang, okay, but it still puts you in a situation because you know when you get in a new job, you in that threshold where your paycheck doesn't come for a certain amount of time, and all of that. And it's funny, we're still dealing with that because he's starting a new job like next week.
Well, also too, I've also pursued a ministry outside of my work as well too, which is something I wasn't doing back then.
Right, he was just job hopping back then.
Back then I was just job hopping, but this past year I actually pursued a ministry to help out people. So that was one of the main reasons.
And we had to have a conversation because I had to call him out on it. I'm like, babe, like what's going on, you know? But I told him, I said, when you're doing your job search this time, because granted, he did pursue a ministry this year. So the first half of this year, we've been living by the grace of God. Okay.
And let me tell you, God's come through.
We've been living by the grace of God, getting through.
But God has definitely come through too. Though.
Yeah.
I got to give props where props are. We've been very fortunate.
Right, but it's been a struggle. And we both are actually getting new jobs starting in July. So, July as of this recording. And so I had a conversation with him because when he was job searching this time, I said, babe, you can't keep job hopping. Like whatever job you accept, you're going to have to feel comfortable being at that job for at least a year. Like, so if you don't see yourself being at that job, like if this is something you're like, oh, I could do this until I can get in the door somewhere else, don't even take it. If it's not going to pay. What in the world? Anyways, if it's not gonna pay you enough in order for us to survive, don't even entertain it. Like because it's just not worth the effort. So this time around, he got a job that he really, really wants.
Yeah.
So
and the cool thing about this one too is it allows me to have time off, so I can still do ministry and still be able to hold down the fort.
Right, and that was really big. So one of the jobs he had before, I think we mentioned this on the channel before, he was working like 7-8 days straight. And so it had to be the schedule that was going to work for him. It had to be the amount of pay that was going to work for him. Like it had to make sense so that it would make sense for him to be there for at least a year. Same thing for me. I've been pursuing entrepreneurship for years and it's just so up and down. I'm just tired of the cycle. And so I'm pursuing entrepreneurship on the back end, but I have a job now. Like I'm starting a job so that way I can start saving. I can at least have some type of stability. We can have some type of stability in the household. So it's a whole lot.
I had a relapse a while back, and I was alcoholic at one point in time for a while. And I actually had a relapse a while back because of stress and the way things were going at work and et cetera and stuff like that.
And we had broke up.
Well, and we had broke up.
That was like a big breakup.
And even though we had broke up, she came and got me. And she was crying and she said, not this one. That they can have any one, but they can't have this one. And I think that was probably the moment for me that I was like, yeah, I'm going to marry this one. Yeah.
That was a very pivotal moment in our relationship, honestly.
Our relationship has never been the same ever since.
Yeah, that was a very pivotal moment. I'm actually shocked that you mentioned that in our very first video.
Yeah.
Because there are people who asked, or I don't know why I felt like we had mentioned that in the video before.
I don't know.
But yeah, one of the times we broke up, I don't even remember now why we broke up. But we broke up. It was like real deal. Like he moved out and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And he did relapse. He relapsed, and you know your spouse. I still know my spouse. Like you just know them. And I'll never forget when I heard the slurs in his speech. It was like everything just sunk in me. Like, oh my God, I know this isn't what I think it is. And my first instinct was to just get to him, because I knew if I could get to him, then I could at least make sure that he didn't go further over than he already was. But I also knew that I couldn't be an enabler either. So I had to let him make the decision. But I wanted him to make the decision on a sober mind.
Yeah.
And I needed him to be with me to recover and then make that decision in a sober mind. Because what can happen is, and this is like, I've never been with someone that has been a recovering alcoholic before. So obviously this was new for me.
Right.
But I knew in that moment, I need to make sure that, because we were broken up. Like, I can't be worrying about you. So if you want to throw your life away again, I need you to say that in a sober head. You know what I'm saying? And then I won't check on you ever again. Like, I'm going to just let you do your thing. That was a very pivotal moment in our relationship, because for you realized who I was and my true character.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the moment that I realized that this was serious, that she was in it for the long haul. Like, I put it this way. I feel like before I relapsed, I had a girlfriend. I feel like what she did that night was wife material. And the next day, when I heard her downstairs playing with the kids, that was a moment that, I heard that voice in my head like, hey, it's time to grow up. And I've never been the same ever since.
I think you're going to say it in this too.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure I'll say that.
Yeah. I'm like, there's no way.
Right.
And long story short, I ended up finding out that, he had been drinking. And I'm telling y'all, I couldn't have got there fast enough. Like, I couldn't have got there fast enough. I thought I was going to get a ticket because I was speeding. Like, I was trying to rush and go there because I knew what he wanted his future to look like. And even though we weren't together, I'm like, even if we're not together, like, I'm not going to let you blow yourself because of this situation. Like, you're going to get past this. And then long story short, we ended up getting back together. But I'm glad we did, because when we got back together, it was like the relationship had been renewed. Yeah. And now the stuff that we used to fall out about before is non-existent.
Well, the thing is, everybody, is we see each other differently. And I think that's what changed the relationship. As before then, when we argued from a place of anger and stuff like that. Whereas now when we argue from a place of love. So we tend to handle things differently now than we did before.
And we don't look at an argument as, I ain't taking this. Like, you got the wrong one. And I'm just saying, that's how I used to feel. Like, nah, I ain't signed up for all of this. Right. Like, Yeah. And so now, because we know we want to be together, that's not really a thought. We're like, okay, what do we need to do to get past this? Like, what conversation needs to happen so that we can move forward and, cuddle to the...
So,
ooh, my face. Oh, that was rough.
So I definitely want to address that too. Something I had said in there is very key. When you fight from a place of hate or anger, and you fight from a place of love, they're very, very different places. One of the questions that you got to ask yourself, and something I had to come to grips with myself, was despite whether or not we were arguing or I was irritated with her, I had to be real with myself and be like, at the end of the day, be like, I love her. Like, I don't want to be without her. So I need to figure this out. And that's something that over time, I had to learn. And that's definitely a self-development thing. Because when we first were together, I used to fight from a place of anger and stuff like that, which honestly will just do nothing but be destructive. That's all I think that anger does, is be destructive. So I just had to address that, because That is very true. Like now, I can't even remember the last time we actually had an argument. It's been a long time.
Knock on wood. It's rare. It happens, but it's rare. Yeah. And it's very short-lived too. We've gotten to a place now, like before, during this video, like during that time, which it was still rare that we argued even then, but if we did argue, it was different. It was different. It was still healthy. Like we didn't never overstep the boundary, but sometimes it did get bad and we would kind of let it drag out. Right. We would drag it out a little bit, which I feel like relationship, you typically do that to a certain extent now. And I've never done this with anybody else. Like this is definitely our relationship specific. We'll be angry with each other, like just from whatever the argument was about, or maybe we're frustrated that somebody did something or whatever. And we like to cuddle at night for one. So that's one thing. And I'll come out here like, look, we have to figure this out because I want to cuddle tonight. Like we not finna drag this out today.
Another thing too that I've noticed that we do, which is really cool, and if you do get the opportunity to do this in your relationship, I definitely suggest it. When we get upset with one another, we ask each other, what is the actual issue? Yeah. And normally it has nothing to do with each other. Right. Normally it's something else that's going on. Mm-hmm. And because we realize that, it's almost like when it's brought to our attention, it's immediately dropped. Like, okay, this ain't you. This is something else going on. So that I absolutely love that we do that. Right. You know, whereas before, if you're clueless and you don't have any idea, then yeah, of course you're gonna be mad and you're gonna be taking it out on your spouse and y'all are gonna be arguing because you don't understand the actual issue. Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. Kind of piggybacking on that as well. Another thing we do, like if we are having a bad, I keep not wanting to say bad because it's not never like really like a blowout, you know, it's quick. It'd be quick and we'd be laughing within like 30 minutes. But if we do have a moment, we squash it. Like even if we don't say anything, like let's say I don't come out or he don't come out, like look, we gotta figure this out. We squash it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like we just kind of move on. You know, like it is what it is. We're not finna mess each other's day up. What you want to eat? Like you hungry? And that's what I was just about to say. I was just about to say, like, even if we do get like that with one another, and what's really cool about us too now is the fact that if we get irritated with one another, she'll go back to the bedroom and do her thing, and then I'll be there and do my thing, and I'll still cook dinner and bring stuff to her, or if it's vice versa, she'll cook and she'll come back there and be like, hey baby, do you want some macaroni and cheese? You know, or whatever it may be, we still talk to each other with respect. And it just seems like a lot of arguments we've actually came out of without even saying anything, because we realize it's not important. So.
I remember one time we had like a heated discussion or whatever, and I was aggravated, but I knew he was having a moment for a different reason. Like it didn't have anything to do with me, and I just walked up to him and gave him a hug. And I remember he was like, thank you for that. Like I didn't mean to, I apologize. I'm dealing with this right now, da, 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 da. And I kind of knew that. And I knew that he was expressing himself towards me, but it didn't have anything to do with me. It had something to do with something else. And I just gave him a hug because I knew he needed it, you know? So it's like little examples like that I feel are different. I ain't never did that before. Because I don't hold a grudge, but like I'm gonna get the last word, okay? All right, so we're gonna end the video right here because we have something to do.
Why are we looking at the same time?
I don't know.
I don't know what made me look down, and I'm like, oh snap!
Yeah, we gotta go. So we're gonna have to chop this video up or something. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you've seen the first video and then you watch this video, like how different do you feel like we are from this till now? Because I'm sure if you've seen us from here and how we are on the channel now, I see the difference. But I'm curious if you guys see the difference. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.